New reports of spying by the NSA are coming out on nearly a daily basis. They've been found collecting information on every single phone call made in America, and the agency has also been caught eavesdropping on tens of millions of phone calls in foreign countries. Even world leaders are not immune. Classified documents released by Edward Snowden reveal that the administration is tapping communications of at least 35 foreign leaders. Widespread spying activities here caused a backlash from the general public, foreign governments, and politicians at home. Vermont Senator Patrick Leahy has introduced the USA Freedom Act, which would end most data collection at home. The Democratic senator is being supported by fellow party member Ron Wyden of Oregon. A similar bill is being introduced in the House of Representatives by Republican Jim Sensenbrenner of Wisconsin. Sensenbrenner was the author of the Patriot Act in 2001. That bill stripped away many privacy protections Americans once enjoyed. The Wisconsin senator has said government surveillance has gone well beyond what the Patriot Act allows. Michael Bolden is the founder and executive director of the 10th Amendment Center. That nonpartisan group helps support constitutional government. They're starting a new campaign to nullify the NSA in light of the new revelations. Bolden's our guest on the show today. He's here to talk to us about the rise in spying, NSA surveillance, and this new campaign to nullify the National Security Agency. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thanks for having me on, Gary.
Michael, how common is spying by the federal government on ordinary Americans, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, if we're going to go by sheer volume, I would take the position that no one violates rights on earth more than the National Security Agency. The Fourth Amendment is pretty straightforward, and they're not supposed to be able to do this stuff without a warrant, probable cause, describing the persons or places to be searched. And they're doing it constantly. They basically consider any person making any type of communication in their jurisdiction, and they can collect that information, monitor it, read it, listen to it, whatever they want. Whether they're doing it all the time or not is another story. They certainly claim the power to do so constantly, to listen into everything. And I think people, not just in the U.S., but around the world, are sick and tired of it.
Well, but Michael, they're doing it to protect us.
Well, I mean, we can go back to what Ben Franklin said: if you trade a little bit of liberty for security, you deserve and will get neither. Or what General Eisenhower said: if you want total security, go to prison. We want a little bit more freedom here, and that's why we want to resist these unconstitutional, unwarrantable spying programs from the USA.
Now, since Obama has taken office, has there been an increase in domestic spying, more so than when Bush was in office, or has it just become more evident with the new revelations from Edward Snowden?
Well, I'm not certain if it's increased or not. It sure seems like it with all of Snowden's revelations. But certainly the nature of government power is that always gets bigger and badder and worse and worse. So while some of the justifications for this came from all the way back to the Reagan administration and then the Bush II administration, Obama hasn't done anything to slow it down. Likely it's increased greatly.
Now, before we get into your actions with nullifying the NSA, I want to ask you about the USA Freedom Act. Do you think that it will pass, and do you think it will make a difference?
It's a great piece of legislation that some of our coalition partners to nullify NSA are supporting, like Downsize D.C. and the Bill of Rights Defense Committee, for example. But the bottom line is Dianne Feinstein heads up the Senate Intelligence Committee, and anything dealing with the NSA is probably going to have to go through her. And if you've read anything that she's said in her columns or heard any of her interviews lately, she might as well be the head spy chief. She loves the NSA. She thinks everything they're doing is constitutional and warranted, and she's not going to let anything through her committee that limits their power.
So how does she justify these things? Is she using the war on terror argument?
Certainly, she uses 9/11. She uses the same old tired arguments that we need to be afraid. And unless they spy on all of us, they violate the Fourth Amendment constantly. We could be in danger. We could be in danger of dying. Well, I want to risk a little danger for some freedom. And in fact, I think we're in less danger the more free we are.
Is the 9/11 argument still valid, though? You mentioned that it's old and tired, but is it still a valid argument?
Well, it's valid for these people. They're going to use whatever they can to scare you into a submission and into oblivion. They don't like the Fourth Amendment, so they'll use whatever they can. I disagree with the fact that any argument actually justifies violating the Fourth Amendment or the First Amendment or any of the other amendments. They're just not authorized to do it. And if they don't like the Constitution anymore, they should submit a proposal to change it. But none of them have the courage to do that.
Now, I want to talk about the NSA, the nullification drive you're about to initiate today. But for our audience's benefit, could you briefly describe what nullification is?
Nullification is basically taking action to resist and stop a federal act without permission of the federal government. So we're not talking about waiting for Dianne Feinstein or the general at the NSA to limit their own power. We're not waiting for Barack Obama to say, oh, I don't want this spy agency on my side. We're talking about learning to live free and restoring and supporting the Constitution, whether those people want us to or not. And these are actions that are generally taken on a state level. And the idea comes right from Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. So we've got founding fathers on our side for this.
Now, Michael, we have to take a quick break, and I want to come back and talk about the Nullify NSA drive that you're launching today. So we'll be right back. We're talking with Michael Bolden. He's from the 10th Amendment Center. He's the executive director, and they're about to nullify the NSA. We'll find out more after the break.